Welcome to the first episode of Recurve Radio. I'm your host, Jared. Now, this is the first in a limited series podcast brought to you by the United Bowhunters of Illinois. They're a traditional bowhunting organization that is celebrating their 30th year promoting fair chase bowhunting in the state of Illinois. To find more information about the UBI, visit their website at unitedbowhuntersofillinois.net. So we have three guests today for our first episode. They have a great story. It's right square in the middle of the whitetail rut in Illinois. This particular hunt happened in northern Illinois. We have Mike Roberts, Brad Morris, and Ryan Spellman on today's podcast. All of these folks played a pivotal role in the conclusion of this hunt. Now, just so you know, we had some technical problems with Mike Roberts' recording. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a recap of what we missed from Mike's introduction. So Mike Roberts is probably best known as a talented bowyer and bow hunter. He owns and operates Sock Trail Archery outside of Joliet, and I think it's in New Lenox, Illinois. Man, I'm telling you what, if you really appreciate the look and the performance of a custom bow, Mike's bows are true works of art. Even if you're not interested in purchasing a bow right now, you need to go to his websites and social medias just to look at the photographs he posts of some of these works of art that he puts out. Just amazing. But Mike, the bigger story is that Mike also serves on the board of the Joliet Archery Club and is now director with the United Bowhunters of Illinois. So Mike is very active in a lot of different spaces in the traditional bowhunter community. So now that's out of the way. Let's go ahead and meet Brad Morris and Ryan Spellman.
My name is Brad Morris from Peatone, Illinois. Been bow hunting since 2018, and last couple of years started bow hunting with traditional archery.
Nice.
And last year? Yeah, last year killed my first deer with traditional bow.
Ryan, what about you?
Ryan Spellman. I live up in Lockport, Illinois right now. I'm originally from out east, from upstate New York, but been bow hunting now, I think since, 20... I bought my first bow, which was a Samick Sage takedown bow from Bass Pro with some stipend money when I was playing football at SUNY. So the only reason I picked up traditional equipment was because it was cheaper at the time for what I could afford. But I didn't grow up in a hunting household, so I kind of just grabbed it. I did archery at summer camp when I was growing up, and I just kind of was thinking, as I was getting older, like, it'd be cool to take this out in the woods and see if I can't get a deer with it, so I've been, kind of learning and taking my lumps as I've been, kind of learning from my mistakes and stuff. I've gotten kind of embraced by this whole UBI group and a lot of the guys I've met out here with the whole traditional hunting crowd and everything. And it's addicting. It's a real cool group of guys, and it's a fun thing to be able to do on the weekends. And it's currently a very good outlet for, real life problems with work and all that stuff. So I've been, really just kind of diving in both feet first with it. But, yeah, haven't got a deer yet with the traditional equipment though. I've got a couple. I got a deer with the rifle, but
yeah. Well, here's the reason why they call them struggle sticks sometimes, right? I know what you're talking about. I didn't introduce myself. My name's Jared Schaffner from Central Part of Illinois. Been with the United Bowhunters of Illinois. Gosh, I don't know, probably close to 20 years. Been shooting trad equipment about the same amount of time. The great thing about the traditional bow hunting is not only is that the adventures in the field, but also the people you're around. And that was the impetus really to starting this little project, is to try to highlight some of the stories about some of the great people, not only in the UBI, but also just in the traditional bow hunting community. So let's jump around those technical issues we had and get right to Mike's story. As we join in, he is going to be talking about his first encounter of the day with a whitetail.
So this doe ends up, she comes down the creek about 12 yards, ends up walking right into the lane. I got a doe tag in my pocket, so I let her rip. Hit her a little low. She bailed out of the creek, went north, and headed west along the top of the creek bank, along the edge of the corn. just minutes after that, I hear a grunt. I got a real nice buck coming straight into me. He comes in from the east, straight into my stand at the top of the creek bank. Neighbor's property is nearby on the south of me, and I decided I'm not shooting anything to the south just because the guy is not a pleasant guy and won't let us retrieve deer out of that property easily. So this buck ends up passing probably 10, 12 yards to the south of me, which, it's upsetting to sit and watch something that nice come by and not take that opportunity. But I guess it's the more responsible side of things, which hard to do.
Hard to be responsible sometimes.
It's hard to do when they're right there, man. That's what you're out there for, and it's right in your lap. But you got to play nice with the neighbors. So after this buck leaves, I hear a grunt. Here comes another buck, second buck coming in, same spot, passes by 10 to 15 yards, same place as the first one. Watched him head out. There was a few small ones in the bunch, but minute or two after that, here comes the third buck. Exact same scenario, passed by the same place. We got all the way up to 8 bucks that just zipped right past, all in the same area. And I thought, man, she's down in the water. She's on the other side of the creek. That's all you got to do is swing around, pass by to the north, and we're done. And that was it. So this all ends. I'm pretty shaken up. Just shot a doe, have 8 good bucks come by, or 8 bucks. I shouldn't say good bucks, but I was ready to roll. My nerves are shot, hung my bow up, sat there. 40 minutes after I shoot this deer, which we're probably talking 15 minutes or so after the last buck left, I have a splashing in the creek. I look through the brush. I see a doe coming down the creek. She's got a buck right behind her, and I thought, perfect. So I get myself ready, and I'm trying to see if it's a doe that I hit. I know I hit her low. Wasn't happy with the shot, so I can't tell because hit her low with a low exit on her left side. She's coming by. All I could see is her right side. She's not limping. She's not acting funny. She's just getting pushed down the creek by this buck. So for good measure, I thought, I'm going to shoot this doe. Well, the buck bumps her. She comes in tight to the inside of the creek, the south side of the creek, which puts her probably a 10-yard shot for me, but there's a lot of brush there right up against that creek bank, so I can't get a shot at her. She passes by, the buck walks right into that open shooting lane, and I thought, well, here we go. And I just let it rip. I went into autopilot. I don't know if I came to full draw. Most guys say I don't, but I drew back, let that arrow go, and watched it deflect right off a honeysuckle branch and loft. And I watched that arrow sink about an inch down from the top of his back, right through above his shoulders. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. That it was just a terrible feeling. That deer jumped up on the bank, took about 2 seconds, grunted, got right back in the creek and right up on that doe again and just pushing her down that creek like nothing happened.
So was the arrow still in him at this point?
No, arrow passed clean through. I don't even know if it didn't hit any bone or anything. It was just skin at this point. It was that high up. I thought maybe I even just went right through the hair and that was it, but just a horrible feeling, So immediately I thought, well, here we go. I gotta get out of this tree. He's pushing her east down that creek. We got a long stretch of creek to go. I'm going to get out of this tree. I'm going to get across the creek. I'm going to head east and head him off. And I thought, I'll get another chance at them when they come by in the creek. So I got out of the tree, I head east and sat there and waited and waited and waited and nothing. And I thought, man, he must have pushed her out of that creek. She must have got out, went south in the neighbors. So I slowly walked the creek back to the stand. No deer. Nothing. So I thought, well, he pushed her out of there. It is what it is. So I went and got my arrow from the doe that I hit. It's laying on the north side of the creek bank. Got up on the top of the creek bank, found some blood, not very good blood, but at the same time, she was chest deep in water. So it looks like watery blood. It's blood mixed with water, but so it's a very tough read on the hit. Followed the blood for probably 60 yards. 70 yards maybe, to a spot where she stopped on the top of the creek bank. Now, this is west of the stand. She stopped for a minute, about a softball-sized spot of watery-looking blood, and then she went right back down the creek bank to the water. Checked down there, nothing. I found drops of blood to the water, nothing on the other side of the creek. The neighbor's property is south of there. So I looked around back there, no luck. My first initial thought at that point is she crossed that creek, headed to the neighbor's land, and there is no getting that deer,
gone.
Yeah. That's it. So fast forward, I sat that Thursday night and saw a couple deer, nothing crazy. And then that was it. Brad came out. When did you end up coming out, Brad? Thursday? Was it Thursday night?
Thursday night, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brad came out Thursday night, and we had slipped out Friday morning. Now I'm kind of wind out of my sails. I blew it on this buck. I bad hit on this doe, and it's like, man, what's going on? You practice all year, you get in the tree and you suck.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
But Friday, Brad, I don't even remember what unfolded on Friday. If I remember, it was a little quiet.
Yeah, it was quiet and quiet morning, because that afternoon we went and shot ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
It was quiet Friday morning, not a lot of action at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Friday kind of came and went. Friday afternoon, I think we had a little movement going. We did see that big toad back there on the neighbor's property coming up to the creek Friday evening, and then that was it. I mean, it went from an explosion of deer running everywhere to what's going on out here. You're scratching your head a little bit, which is pretty common for that property. It's not like it hits and then just stays lit up straight through.
Really?
It's on, off,
You were right at the peak of the Illinois whitetail rut, right around the 7th, 8th, 9th there.
Yep. I always try to look at that like the 5th through the 15th. That's when I want to be out there. Ideally, at least on that property. I know location's a bit different, and then there's other guys that say differently, but that's what I've found over the years for that property. So fast forward, Friday night, we went back to the camper and got a fire going, and Brad and I sat, and probably absolute perfect night, man. Weather-wise, it was just perfect. Moon was out, stars, coyotes yapping everywhere around us, it was just phenomenal. I just crackling fire, and you got coyotes a couple 100 yards away just losing their minds. It was just a good night, all in all. And then Ryan decides to show up at 10:30 at night or something.
10:45.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He's coming. I'm gonna go home and let the dogs out, and then I'll meet you out there. And I don't know how long his dog's got to pee, but I'll tell you, man, that took forever.
I got stuck in Indiana, so I got off work. My dad asked me if, hey, you want to get a bite to eat with your mom and I? I'm like, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Get out of there, get cruising on 94. They live over in Chesterton, Indiana, so I get on 94 there. I get about 3 miles on 94 going west, and now it's just stop traffic. So I was in traffic with like six Stadies, 3 tow trucks. Something happened. I didn't see the wreckage, but yeah, so I got to my house probably an hour after I was planning on being there, and then that obviously pushes everything. And then I got down all the way to St. Anne, down by where the property's at, and then I'm going through downtown St. Anne right by the Casey's there, and then, oh, look, train's coming through, so I got stopped by a train. And I actually called Mike, and I was like, dude, you're not going to believe it, but they were already passed out. I showed up to the camper, no life, like, no, everybody's out. Like, and I'm surprised I didn't hear any snoring like out there. But yeah, I open the door of the camper, I just peek my head in. I see Brad sleeping over here, and then I just see Mike sleeping here, and he like jolts awake, and he's like, "All right, just get in."
Get in and leave.
I was pretty tired, man.
Yeah.
Something about that fresh air, being out there all day in the cold and the fresh air out there, man. I think it just kind of wipes you out. But yeah, we ended up getting up Saturday morning,
late.
Yeah, we did wake. Yeah, we did. So Brad and I both set our alarms. I think it was Ryan because he woke us up late at night.
Yeah.
We both set our alarms, and I remember hearing Brad's alarm go off, and I saw him looking at his phone, and I was like, it must be time to get up. And then my alarm went off, and I shut it off. And I guess we both just went back to sleep.
Yeah,
So I don't know what happened, but we both just went back to sleep. And then I woke up and I'm like, what time is it? And I don't even remember what time it was. It was like 5:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like, it had to be like 5:30 in the morning, which.
Legal shooting like's around 6, right?
Yeah. So it was bad, but, because Thursday and Friday, we left camp at 5:30. Well, 5:15, we left camp to head out to our spots. We wake up and it's like, man, we got to go like 15 minutes ago. So we're all scrambling, getting our gear, getting our clothes on and everything and bail out. And it's like, well, it is what it is. So Brad heads over to the southeast corner of the property. We all headed the same direction, kind of dropping off in positions. So Brad heads to the southeast corner of the property. Ryan's, I think, still kind of out of it, wiping his eyes. So he decided he's going to climb into a blind, it's about 30 yards from my tree stand. There's a blind there on the edge of the cornfield, which is fine with me because I can't shoot that far anyway. So I usually put a decoy out on the edge of the field more as a distraction. If I see something coming across the field to the decoy, I'll unhook and climb down and close the gap. But Ryan climbs into that blind. Brad heads off to the southeast corner. I cross the creek, head up into my tree stand, and right away I get settled in. And I thought, well, I want to take a look and see what the weather's doing, what the wind is going to be doing. And so I get on my phone and start looking at the weather, and I hear something. It was probably about 20 after 6:15 in the morning.
You shot that buck at 6:15 because that's when I texted you because I heard something blow out on the other side of the creek, and I just texted Mike. I'm like, what was that? Because I thought I got winded or something. Like I did something wrong. Like I accidentally moved the wrong way in the blind. Something busted out of there. But yeah.
I'm checking the weather on my phone, and I look to my right. I hear something to my right, and I look to the south of me, and here's this buck standing there, probably about 15 yards. And I thought, man, where did he come from? So I get my phone into my pocket. I'm sitting down, my bow's hanging up. The buck walks towards me. Now he's standing there about 10 yards, and I can't move. He's 10 yards wide open. I'm in a big pine tree. Takes a few more steps. He's 7 yards. I got a branch between him and I, a big pine branch. So I reach over and grab my bow out of the tree, and I'm still sitting, which, is not ideal for me because the way the branches are splayed out on this tree. Takes a few more steps. Now he's standing there. It's 5-6 yards right at the edge of the creek. He's looking down at the creek. My waders are on the edge of the creek. They laugh. So I used to use waders to cross this creek, but it's a pain to put your boots on, walk out there, take your stuff off, put your waders on, cross the creek, take your waders off. So I buy contractor bags.
There you go.
And I bring out 2 contractor bags, slip my legs into them, walk across the creek, and I don't have any boot changing to do. So this buck is standing there staring at this pile of garbage bags at the bottom of the creek, and I'm sure he's wondering what's going on there. And I thought, well, it's now or never. This particular instance, I can tell these 2 guys, I did come to full draw. I do know that. I'm a horrible snap shooter, and I got a 29.5-inch draw, pushing 30, but I pretty often let her rip at 27 just because I know it's there. It just feels good. But anyway, I come back, and I could see there's some pine boughs kind of blocking the deer a bit, but I can see that shoulder clear as day right there, and at 5-6 yards, I knew where it was going, so I let her rip, and I came in high behind his left shoulder and came out low through the front of his right shoulder. And that deer bolted out of there, snapped the arrow right there. I hit a lot of cartilage and stuff going in, but he snapped that arrow and ran east. And I hear him crashing through the tree line and angling towards the neighbor's property. Now my heart's starting to stop, and I'm thinking, no, this can't happen. And Ryan texted me, like he said, he texted me right away. What the heck was that? I said,
What was that?
I said, I just laced the buck, and he goes, I thought I spooked something. I said, no. He goes, was it a good hit? I said, yeah, it was a good hit. I know it was a good hit. He says, are you going to go and get it? I said, no, I'm going to stay put. I don't want to blow out the area or whatever. And it's early, anything can happen. So, I don't think I got down to look for that deer until 10 o'clock?
No,
it was about 9:45, I think.
Yeah, like 9:45. It's been those
a good solid 3 hours then. Wow.
Yeah, down is down, so it doesn't matter. And with Ryan being 30 yards, I didn't want to, he's still got opportunity here, so we're going to leave it be. But I eventually climbed down, and in that 3 hours that I'm sitting there, I start glassing where the buck was, and right away where he was standing, I see blood on the ground. And I'm kind of trailing him with my binoculars, just blood trailing from the tree with the binoculars. And I could see it kind of all over. And I thought, this is perfect.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, very good feeling. So about 9:45, I get down. I walk over. There's half my arrow, and then I take up the trail. And right away, Ryan texts me. He says, hey, the turkeys are back. We're overrun with turkeys on this property.
Wow.
They were loose. I mean, I texted Mike. I was like, dude, these turkeys have been cutting loose, just like clucking, purring, everything for like an hour and a half. And it's not even like soft stuff. Like they're just, it sounds like it's like a hen coop just with turkeys. And I'm surprised Mike didn't go deaf.
Oh, it's nuts. It's nuts. They roost about 50, 60 yards behind where my stand is. So and there's got to be 50 birds that roost there, and it's ridiculous. But so he texts me, those turkeys are back, and he says, stay put for a while. So I thought, oh boy, here we go. So I thought, that's not a problem. I'm out of sight, and I'm looking for this deer. So that buck, I would say that buck probably made it 50 yards. And lo and behold, he was piled up exactly on the property line. I took a picture of it where he was laying. I thought, I can't believe this, man. I got so lucky there, literally right on the property line, which was my heart stopped, man. I think my eyes might have welled up on that one, but I was pretty stoked. So I pulled this buck and got him positioned to get a few photos. And Ryan, I'm waiting for the okay from Ryan. And then all of a sudden, while I'm sitting there getting the camera ready, I hear, and I'm like, what in the world? And I thought, well, he shot at one of the turkeys. He's only 35, 40 yards away from me now. And then I can't see him through all the brush. And then you hear, I thought, what is he doing, man?
Dequivering.
And then I hear a third one. And I'm like, what the heck is going? He's emptying his quiver on these birds. So didn't get any.
Yeah, they came over the creek, and then they were at like 60 yards down the down the edge of the field, and then they started like slowly. For some reason, every time I had a can call with me, and we had the decoy set, so every time I would hit the can call, they felt a little bit more comfortable. It seemed like, and they just like inched closer, and I mean that was going on for like 20 minutes, like just like come a little closer, and then so right where they hung up, there was a bunch of like waist high stalks and then like the real low stuff. They stayed in the real low stuff, but it was like 40 yards. And then they all just kind of hung up right there. I'm like, they're not going to come any closer. You know what? So I shot the first arrow. They didn't move. They're like, what was that? Because I think I just hit like way below them, like way in front of them. It didn't even make it to them. So then I angled up a little bit, still not there. And then the third arrow actually went, and it kind of went right in between two of the turkeys and stuck behind them. And then I had 3 broadhead arrows and I had 2 judos with me. So I was like, all right, well, I'm out of usable arrows, so I might as well just get out and go grab my arrows. And that's when they flared out, oh, these turkeys just mess with us all the time we're down there.
They're still messing with you.
Brad, I never asked you. So that Saturday morning, Did you hear any of this nonsense going on from where you
No,
were?
I seen the turkeys walking down towards Ryan, and I texted him like, "Hey man, you got a group of turkeys headed your way." And then that was it. And then it was quiet, and then so it was dead. And I'm flipping on my phone, and then I see you with a picture of Buck, and I'm like, "Oh, I wonder when he shot that." And I'm like, "Wait, this picture's already been taken." So I was like, "I'm gonna get out now because you guys." Yeah, so I got out of the stand and headed your way. And that's when you guys were coming across the creek with the buck. But yeah, I didn't even know you had shot a deer.
Yeah, I ended up getting that buck. I got a few photos and then dragged that buck over to the creek and got him down the creek. Got him across the creek, and as we're getting him up the side of the creek bank, thank goodness Ryan and Brad were helping me with that. It's a
Yeah,
tough one
sure.
for me with some
He was
back
a
issues
hoss.
and stuff. It's a tough pull. As we're pulling it up the side of the creek, Brad goes, "So that's where you hit it?" And it was laying with the exit side exposed, and it's low in the front of the front shoulder. Um, And I was like, what do you mean that? No, I said, no, that's the exit hole. He goes, yeah, but that's where you hit it right there. And I look, there's a gash right on the top of its shoulders. And it turns out to be the exact buck that came by behind that doe on Thursday that I put that arrow right through the top of his shoulders, man. I thought,
Nice.
you gotta be kidding me. What are the odds of that?
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
that was kind of a chilling
Mm-hmm.
feeling right there. Just the redemption on that, you know.
Yeah,
When
that's
it looked
awesome.
like it was it literally just pierced like it just slit the hide, and then
Right.
it just got down into the fat, and that was like it. So it
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was only a 3-inch gash. That was it. I mean,
Completely
it was.
Yeah.
survivable. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Once, like I said, once I saw that arrow go across his back and he got right back on that doe, I was like, man, that's
Yeah.
not something
Yeah,
that's
he's
not
not hurting
something
you.
to worry about, but still makes you feel bad, you know, at least me. But so yeah, so we got that deer back to the truck. Well, we got the truck and brought the truck to the deer, I should say, which is one of the greatest things about that farm. You can pretty much pull up to them
Driver.
wherever they're at. Yeah. Um, Went out, shot a few ducks. Right after that, brought the deer into the butcher, which is only literally, I think he's 5 minutes from the farm, which is very convenient.
Yeah. Nice.
Grabbed some lunch and then headed back out for the afternoon. That afternoon, Brad moved north along the east end of the property into one of the stands I got up over there. And Ryan, they kind of swapped, and Ryan moved down to the east corner where Brad was. And I didn't see anything from my stand that Saturday night, but I sat and watched the show all around Brad. It just exploded. It was bucks, dog, and does, and it was crazy. Brad, you had all kinds of stuff going on over there.
Yeah, I had a buck and a doe behind me, and it's pretty thick woods, and they're just going back and forth and back and forth. And it was later on in the afternoon, and I'd hit the grunt, and he'd stop, and he'd go right back to chasing. And meanwhile, Ryan texts me, and he's like, "You got a buck coming your way," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm watching the show behind me. I see it." And he goes, "No, it's in the field." And I turned on the field and looked towards him, and then here comes this buck up to the decoy. So now I got bucks behind me and does, and I got a buck walking to a doe in front of me. It's just so I'm like, well, he's coming in on a line for this doe or my decoy, and kept watching him and watching him, and now it's getting to end of shooting time, so it's 4:30. And I look at the doe and I'm like, if it gets in here a little bit more. And finally, it just got to the point I couldn't even see the doe anymore. And he's still eating corn and stuff. And so he never did come in, but it was just exploding all around us that evening.
That's amazing.
But
I'm
yeah,
not.
it was cool.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it's amazing you guys were all in the right place at the right time with the right people.
100%. 100%. It's, you know, just to be out there with some good guys, you know, and we're all out looking to do the same thing and disconnect and, you know, gain some solitude. It's just, you know, it's good to have a small circle is how I feel myself.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I mean, all three of us out there, the nights just sitting around a campfire, just talking about life and everything, and it was very, very relaxing. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not going to get that set in front of a television or set in front of a
No,
computer screen.
No.
It's what life's all about. Well,
Yep.
gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking the time to get to share your stories with us today, and thank you for all the time and effort you've put into the United Boneheads of Illinois. You guys have rejuvenated strength to, I think, the organization. You know, tonight's story is just exactly what the organization is all about. Really, bringing people like-minded people like you together. Thanks again. Anything you want to add before we close out, guys? What kind of bow were you using, Mike?
hey,
That's a
Black
good one.
Widow.
That's a good one. Well, I got one of those new 10-point crossbows. Pretty nice. 62-inch recurve. 62-inch recurve.
Nice.
Carbon
Now,
arrows.
which one of your models were you shooting?
That's a 3-piece Alcona.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the original one
Yep.
too, isn't it? Wasn't it the first one?
It's the prototype, yeah. Yeah, and Jerry,
Nice.
real quick, the tail end of this whole where it wraps up, it just kind of got weird. But Sunday, Ryan and I went out. I just wanted to throw that in there. We went out Sunday morning. It rained all night Saturday night. Sunday was deader than a doornail. So we decided to go out. We decided to shoot some ducks at the far east end of the property. Went out there, shot some ducks, and I had to get in the creek to go and retrieve these ducks. So I went west, went down to the creek, took my boots off, and I got to go into my socks. And Ryan goes, "Is it cold?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." It's like, it's real cold, man. It's like, I think within 2 minutes, I couldn't feel my feet. I was thigh deep in the water, and I can't feel my feet. So I told him, I said, "I'm gonna head east, gather these ducks. You meet me at the east end with the truck, you know." And he's like, "All right." And I said, "Wouldn't it be crazy if I found that doe?" And he's like, "Yeah, no kidding." So I turn, I take 2 steps, and I go, "What the heck is that right there?" And he goes, "Well, dude, I think that's a stump." I was like, "No, that's not a stump, man." And 20 feet away from me, here's this doe laying there in the creek.
My
And I
gosh.
thought, you got to be kidding me. And I'm thinking, there's no way. There's no way. I checked, I walked up that creek. I didn't see any deer in that creek, nothing. And the creek runs to the west, from east to west. So I walk over, and I'm thinking, this can't be my doe, you know, and I roll her over in the water, and sure enough, man, there's that hole from that broadhead, that dirt nap. And I thought, you got to be kidding me. And right away, he goes, "Do you think the meat's any good?" I'm like, "I can't feel my feet, man."
Yeah, it's.
I'm
What's
guessing.
the chances of?
So, I mean, aside of that, I don't know when this deer died. Well, I mean, if it was that same day or the next day, or so he gives me his knife, you know, and I skin part of the hind quarter and cut some meat out of it. And I'll tell you, that meat was ice cold.
Wow.
And I thought, man, there's nothing wrong with this meat at all. So I was able to, you know, harvest all of the meat off of this deer, quartered it right there, and got it out of there. But that was, you know, right. I guess the moral of it right there is, you know, that deer was shot, 150, 200 yards from where we found it, the opposite direction of where it went. So now, being in the water, you have no blood trail, you have no nothing.
Yeah.
Why would a guy head east to look for a deer there when your deer went west? So right there, it teaches me so much. Each year I learn a lot out there, but it teaches me so much, the fact that, you know, just because it went this way doesn't mean that that's where it is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just unreal. You know, when you go that certain direction, look around for a long time and then give up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they could be anywhere. It was just absolutely crazy. But having Ryan being there to experience the whole thing, I'm sure,
Yeah.
you know, probably shocked him too. It was like, what in the
Then after
world
making
are
that
the odds?
statement, what's the chances of me finding that deer?
flashbacks. I
Yeah,
got
so
flashbacks.
so that was kind of the icing on the cake for that whole trip. That you know, both deer were recovered, not the way you want to find them or when you want to find them, but thank the good Lord that I was able to find them.
Yeah, she was in darn near freezing water, just basically being stored until you found her.
Yeah,
It's
which
crazy.
I think I was in that freezing water for about an hour and 40 minutes by the time I got this done and had to go find them ducks. So it was, what a turn of events.
That's awesome.
Anywho, but yeah,
It's a great time.
that's how
It's
she
only
wrapped
there.
up.
Yeah, it only things like that only happen if you take the time to get out. You know.
Yeah.
We've all got busy lives and busy things, but there's only one November every year, isn't there?
That's right.
So you
We
gotta
wait
get
all
out.
year for it.
Yeah.
We wait all year for it. So
Guys, I want to thank
awesome.
everybody for taking all your time today and helping us. I think we got a great start to this project, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
All
Guys,
right.
be good.
Thank you.